Sooner or later, a market crash will come. It's not a matter of if, but when. And when it does, the people who come out ahead won't be the ones who predicted it. They'll be the ones who prepared for it. So today, let's open the playbook, the one designed to make sure that the next downturn works for you, not against you.
To really see what's at stake, let me paint you a picture. Two investors, we'll call them Person A and Person B. Same job, same goals. When the market took that nosedive in 2020, they faced the exact same 34% drop. Person A panicked, sold everything, and locked in a huge loss. Person B, on the other hand, stayed the course, kept investing, and came out way ahead. The lesson here is simple. The crash didn't decide their future. Their preparation, or their lack of it, did.
So you might be asking, why are we talking about this right now? Look, this is not about predicting the future. No one has a crystal ball. This is about understanding the conditions we see in the market today, conditions that have, historically, come before some major corrections. Okay, let's look at one of the most reliable measures of market valuation out there, the Shiller-Cape ratio. Its historical average is right around 17, and where are we today? We're way up in the high 30s. The last time the market was this pricey by this metric, well, that was right before the dot-com bubble burst. And we all know how that ended. And what about that S&P 500 index fund that so many of us own? You know, the one that's supposed to be diversified? Well, it might not be as diversified as you think. Right now, just 7 giant companies make up almost a third of the entire index. That's a huge concentration of risk. And history shows us that when this kind of situation unwinds, it usually doesn't happen quietly. And hey, if you need a real-world example of this cautious mindset, just look at Warren Buffett. Right now, his company is sitting on a record-breaking pile of cash, literally hundreds of billions of dollars. That's not fear. That is preparation. He sees the high prices, and he's patiently building up his war chest, waiting for the inevitable sale. To see the real human cost of being unprepared, let's dig into a case study. We'll call this couple Ark and Via. They have a great income, top 30% of the country. On paper, they should be cruising towards their financial goals, but the last crisis showed just how fragile their situation really was. Here's the chain of events, and it happened fast. The pandemic hits, Arkin gets furloughed, their tiny savings account gone in just 3 weeks. That desperation forced them to do the one thing you should never do: sell their 401k investments in the middle of March at the absolute bottom of the market. And because they sold, they missed the entire unbelievable recovery that happened over the next few months. So what was the final price tag for this mistake? A loss of between $60,000 and $80,000 in potential wealth. And here's the part you absolutely have to understand. The market crash didn't do this to them. Their lack of an emergency fund did. It forced their hand, making them sell at the worst possible time. The damage was preventable. Okay, we've clearly seen the problem. We've seen how bad it can get. So now, let's pivot to the solution. This is the 5-step playbook. These are the exact moves you need to make to ensure that when the time comes, you are person B. Here's the plan. It's simple, but it's powerful. Step 1, you need a 6-month emergency fund. Cash, liquid. Step 2, attack and eliminate any high-interest debt. Step 3, rebalance your portfolio so it actually matches your true risk tolerance. Step 4, automate your investing and do not stop. And finally, Step 5, learn how to use a market downturn to your tax advantage with Roth accounts. Now, let's break each of these down. I want you to think about this for a second. If I came to you with an investment that had a guaranteed, totally risk-free 22% annual return, you'd bite my hand off, right? Of course you would. Well, guess what? That's exactly what you get when you pay off that high-interest credit card. While you're hoping for 10% a year from the market, that debt is eating you alive at more than double the rate.
Hey, remember how we talked about the S&P 500 being dominated by a few tech giants? Well, there's actually a pretty simple tool to fix that problem. It's called an equal weight ETF. In this kind of fund, every single company gets the same slice of the pie, about 0.2%. That means some boring manufacturing company carries the exact same weight as Apple. That is true diversification.
Okay, let's run through a quick mental drill. The market is in an absolute freefall, down 30%. Your account balance is a sea of red. It looks terrifying. Every instinct in your body is screaming at you to sell to make the pain stop. What is the right move?
The right move is to do the exact opposite of what your gut is telling you. You see, the world's biggest sale just started. The stock market is the only place where, when things go on sale, people run out of the store screaming. If you have your plan in place and you continue your automatic contributions, every single dollar you invest is now buying you more shares at a massive discount.
You know, a market downturn also opens up a huge opportunity, a tax opportunity. Let's say your traditional 401k or IRA drops from 150 grand down to 100 grand. This is the perfect time to do what's called a Roth conversion. You'll pay the income tax on that lower $100,000 value today, but in exchange, every dollar of future growth, including the entire recovery back to $150,000 and beyond, is now 100% tax-free, forever.
You know, we've covered all the numbers and the tactics. And honestly, that's the easy part. The hardest part of navigating a crash is what happens between your ears when the headlines are screaming and your portfolio's bleeding red. The biggest fight you'll face is the mental one.
There's a scientific reason why selling in a panic feels so instinctive. It's a concept called loss aversion, and the research shows that the psychological pain of losing a dollar is more than twice as powerful as the pleasure you get from gaining a dollar. This is hardwired into us. You can't outsmart it in the heat of the moment. You can only prepare for it ahead of time.
And this is exactly why following the crowd is financial suicide. I mean, look at this data. At the absolute bottom of the 2009 financial crisis, the single greatest buying opportunity of our lifetime, 70% of investors were bearish. They were terrified. And at the peak of the dot-com bubble, right before it blew up, optimism was at a record high. The lesson is crystal clear. The crowd is always wrong at the turning points.
This brings us to what might be the single most important rule of all. You must make your plan now, today, while you are calm, cool, and rational. Write it down. Commit to it. Because I promise you, the version of you that exists during a 30% market crash is the single worst financial advisor you will ever have.
So let's run through that playbook one last time. This is your path to resilience. Number 1, build that 6-month cash cushion. Number 2, destroy any debt with an interest rate above 6%. Number 3, rebalance your portfolio to a level of risk you can actually stomach. Number 4, automate your contributions and never, ever turn them off. And number 5, see down markets as a strategic opportunity for massive tax savings.
Let's end on the core idea of this entire explainer. Nobody can consistently predict when a market crash will happen. Not the experts on TV, not the hedge fund gurus, nobody. The people who win, the people who actually build wealth through these cycles, they are not the predictors, they are the preparers. Person A lost everything because they walked into the storm unprepared, both financially and emotionally. Person B came out on top because they did the work before the crisis hit. The playbook is simple, and now it's yours. So the only question that remains is this: which one will you choose to be?